Hi there, I'm Camille, and this is Heal with Camille podcast. I want to talk to you about how to read people and how to know what part of the brain you're interacting with when you're talking to them. There's a language of increase and a language of decrease. So we're going to get into a little bit of that today. So how do you know if the person you're communicating with is present? Are they able to hear you? Are they listening? Well, you can tell by their mood. If you ever walk in the kitchen or you walk in your house and your mom's there and you know she's upset, she's mad about something, you can feel it. She doesn't have to say a word. It's the heat coming off of her. So we can sense people's emotions and moods. Now, sometimes we guess and we're wrong, but you can pick up on people's feelings. And so if they're stuck in a low mood, that's a low vibe and kind of not a good time to start a serious conversation with that person. But if a person is high tone, and when I say that, I mean high emotion, usually happy in the moment, present, they're positive. If they're in a high tone mood, you can pretty much bet they're present and you can communicate with them. But if you're dealing with someone who's always in a low mood or upset or angry, again, it's that low vibe. And so you're going to be starting a conversation with that person. And it's hard to be happy around those people. Have you noticed? It's like if they're in a bad mood, they almost get irritated because you're in a good mood. Has that ever happened to you? Happens to me every day. But people walk in and they're not doing good. And I try to stay pretty positive. But if you're in a high mood or high tone, it almost can seem annoying to someone who's in a bad mood. So when you notice someone in a bad mood, it's probably best practice maybe to not be so high tone, but to not let them affect your mood at the same time. You don't want to drop your mood because they're in a bad mood. So if you can learn how to match them energetically and bring them up, that's a pretty high skill level. Some people get annoyed, and I've got relationships that I'm just going to go to my room. I'm just not going to deal with you. You're going to be in a bad mood. I don't want to talk to you. Or I can't handle you right now. You're just, too emotional or too high mood for me. I just want to go be alone. People will detach from other people if they aren't matched in their mood. But what if you're dealing with someone and you want to help them and you want to bring them up the mood scale? Let me first educate you on what I call it a mood chart, mood scale is. But if you've got someone who's in a destructive, sabotage, chaotic space, their mood level's probably going to be something like detached elsewhere, not really emotional. They might feel numb. They might just feel shut down. But if they are shut down, they're operating out of their unconscious mind. Now, have you ever tried to negotiate with a drunk or try and talk to someone who's not all there? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. If people are stuck in a painful past memory in their mind, they're going to be in a low mood. So the mood tells me what part of the brain they're living in. If a person is in their unconscious mind, they could be chaotic, absent, like just not even coherent or not wanting to talk to you, just literally shut down, apathetic. If someone's apathetic and they're detached, they're elsewhere, they're not here, or just kind of hiding, gone away, if they're in that kind of a mood state, that's a pretty low mood. And that's a dangerous place for people to stay too long. But if you're in that kind of a mood, you literally are in your unconscious mind. You're not related or engaged in life at all. If you are chaotic, you might feel masochistic or dispersed or unpositioned or a little sadomasochistic in a way. Like, I just want to cause trouble. I just want to be out of control. That's someone who's in a chaotic state. And that is, again, an unconscious mind right there. It's not someone who's consciously creating. They're unconsciously creating. They're risking and they're doing something risky because they don't care. They want chaos. It's like a drug or some sort of fix for them, right? And then you've got someone who might be sabotaging themselves, and they might play the martyr and poor me, and they could be abusive, they could be revengeful, numb, unfeeling, enemy fixated. If someone's feeling that, they will be destructive. They will be doing destructive things to themselves or other people. Again, unconscious mind. So you're not going to be able to negotiate with these people if they're doing something destructive. I would imagine that some of this training is the police get this kind of training because if you are, a police officer and you're in a crowd or there's some sort of detached, chaotic stuff going on with these people that are detached and not emotional, they have to treat them as they can't negotiate with them. People have said to me, why do they have to be so mean or so harsh or whatever? But if a person's in their unconscious mind, there is no negotiating. There really isn't. You have to deal with them appropriately. If they're harming others, you have to take them out of the situation. Another mood or life existence, I will call it, some sort of level of existence, is immobile. If you or someone feels immobile, they just can't move forward. They just feel stuck in life. They're kind of on this holding pattern. The feelings for that would be sabotage. They feel manipulated, forbearance. They feel dominated. They feel remorse. They might feel guilty, and they feel stuck. So that's also an unconscious mind situation where you feel like you're trapped. If there's hostility, if your level of existence, you're being hostile or someone around you is being hostile, again, they feel guilty, humiliated, they're fixed, it's their fault, they feel accountable, or they're feeling blamed for something. But if you've got someone hostile like that, they're not operating in the present time mind. These are people you probably don't want to try and negotiate with. You're not going to get a good resolve with these kind of people until they can lift themselves up into feeling established again, where they're engaging, they're here, they may not be fully present or giddy, but they're in a higher mood. And a higher mood would feel like they're established. This is the subconscious mind. If you ever look at something and you're kind of triggered and you know you're reminded of something, like, what am I being reminded of? There's something that's pulling me back. And so when you have that kind of a sensation of, wow, this is a little bit of a deja vu, or I'm kind of starting to get triggered, that right there is when you're operating in the subconscious mind. You're not fully conscious of it, but you're not yet unconscious and letting the mood take you over. The unconscious mind is usually full of unresolved past trauma, the stuff you haven't been able to process through. You haven't brought the unconscious pain and emotional stuff to the conscious mind. So that's the stuff you don't want to look at usually. But if people live in the unconscious mind, they're not always able to be reasoned with. That's how you know that you're with someone who's in their unconscious mind, is their low mood and low destructive behaviors toward themselves and other people. But if we get a little bit higher in the mood chart and you're going to the subconscious mind where you're stable, you're established, you might be angry. You could be full of rage. You could feel like a victim. You could have anxiety or fear. And you know it. You know that you're going through these emotions. You could be feeling like a victim. You can feel distressed, lethargic, like you're a failure. There could be masked rage and some sort of anxiety or resentment. But this is a state where you know you're feeling that. You're able to articulate that usually. And you might be hard to work with. Like if someone asks you questions, I don't know, what do you think? Or, you're not really wanting to answer questions because you're kind of getting triggered and you're starting to lose control over yourself emotionally. But that's someone you can kind of bring up if you can listen and say, what's going on? And maybe I'm going through this and I'm angry, and okay, tell me all about that. Don't resist that. If they can feel heard and validated, they can usually move up the mood chart. And then when you're in your conscious mind, like right here, right now, you're productive, you're developing yourself. You can be mildly optimistic, attentive, reserved. You could be down in boredom. You could be angry, but you are definitely kind of here. You know what's happening. So you can still be upset and be conscious. You don't have to be giddy and be and conscious. But the conscious mind is where you're productive and you're making something happen. That's usually a place where you can create some sort of results with somebody if they're in their conscious mind. And then we've got the superconscious mind. And if you're in your superconscious mind, the superconscious mind is where you're getting your dreams and aspirations. You feel powerful, abundant, success breakout, high optimism, cheerful, enthusiastic, attentive. There's positive action. You're feeling empowered. So if you're in your superconscious mind, it's like something's going your way. You're loving your life. You're loving your results. You're enjoying the moment. And that's the space when you can get someone to the superconscious mind where they are accepting themselves. They're accepting their life. They're accepting what's happening in their world. They're accepting other people. That's the space where you can start creating. And creating looks like language. I try and teach people that there's a language of increase and a language of decrease. The language of decrease is, that's never going to happen. That's not going to work. Because what are you building when you are negative about something? What are you building when you're saying something's bad or wrong? You're not building anything. You're destroying it. You're creating a future to live into, always. Our energy, our mood, what we say is always sourcing and creating a future to live into. We make it up as we go, truly. I always say to people, gravity happens. Every time I drop these glasses, they're going to fall. Every time. That's a truth. That is a truth. On this planet, we have gravity. Now, I can like it. I can hate it. I can have an opinion about gravity. But is my opinion going to change gravity? No. Is my opinion, whether I like it or not, going to make it any different? No. I'm not going to change gravity. I'm not going to change how gravity works. So what you want to look at is, if you're having an opinion about something you have no ability to change, no ability to influence or even control, you're fighting reality. You're fighting that. But if you know people in your life, or if you're one of these people that just, oh, it never works out for me, I'm always getting that. See, just my luck, nothing ever happens. That's the kind of person I call Eeyore. And Eeyore is just, woe's me. They just can't let themselves win. They can't have a high mood. They can't have anything positive happening. Now, maybe that's because last time they had something positive, something bad happened right after. I don't know. But those kind of people are usually living in a low mood. And that bandwidth, they can create only so much inside of that bandwidth. But their language is creating a future to live into. And what are they creating? More of the same. I have a client who's, she breaks up with guys, and see, why don't I ever get the guy? Why can't I? So it's a poor me. Why can't I? Instead of looking at, well, how did you grow this time in this relationship? What did you learn? Because you've definitely become a whole new person. There's so many good things that happen here, right? But this is where people, their mindset, but their mood set is also what's critical. So mood matters. Your mood always matters. And if you're a negative mood person and you're always kind of just stinking up the place with your negativity, you're creating a future to live into. People don't like to be around that. And you probably don't like to be around yourself. So you can check your mood, and you're not hiding your mood. People can pick up on your mood, whether you think that they can or not. You're not hiding your mood. It's obvious to most people. But how do you create futures? Like, what's the language of increase? How do you make something happen just by language? Well, here's how you do it. First of all, you want to be present. You want to make sure, you're well fed, you're well rested, you're not tired, you're not crabby, you're able to be conscious in your conscious mind. And I like to do this with somebody. So I did this with a client earlier today, and I said, okay, you're in a great space right now. You just worked through something amazing. You feel healthy. You feel happy. Let's build something with this energy. Let's build something for the future. What do you want to create in your future? Well, I want people to know that I genuinely care, that I really care about their pain, and I want to help them be better. He's a doctor. So he wants to help people be better, and that they have options. They have choices. They can improve themselves. They don't have to stay stuck in bad health. And I say to him, okay, and I repeat it back to him. And then I say, what are you building with that? If you created that, what are you building with that reality? And he's like, okay, let me think. If I created that, if that has already happened, what he just wanted, which was getting people to care about themselves, if he could inspire patients to be that way, what would he build with that? Well, he'd probably build a huge practice. People would want to come to see him. He'd be very popular. And then what are you building with that? Well, I could be an influential person. I could make a difference. I could have a whole protocol for people. So he starts looking to see what reality is possible when you layer upon layer that you have created that reality. And then what does that reality create? And then what does that reality create? And all this is inside of a language. It's all inside of the space that's created with, what are you building with that? What are you creating with that? So for me, what I want people to experience being gotten, being listened to, being heard. I want them to have that emotional air feeling that they know that they're validated. They feel like, okay, I feel better. I feel so much better. And I want to be able to hear other people's pain. And as they leave my space with what I've created with them, they go home to their people, their children, their spouses, their loved ones, and they're present. And they are able to love them and accept them and listen to their pain without getting taken by it and dragged down and commiserate, that they're able to just be a space of love and listening. And the people around them feel free. They feel better. They feel accepted, and they feel like they're lighter. They just feel lighter. So what happens after that? What am I building with that? Well, if people feel lighter and free, they're going to be more accepting. They're going to be more generous. They're going to be more kind with other people. There's going to be a ripple effect of people feeling healthier and better because of my contribution to one of my clients. And if that continues to go, and there's a ripple effect of that, what are they building with that? Healing, new ways of being, new possibilities, new realities. stronger relationships, forgiveness, acceptance, love. Babies, they're going to be more in love and have more sex, and they're going to populate the planet. And people are going to feel joyful, and they're going to feel adventurous. They're going to feel self-expressed. They won't be insecure. There won't be any more negative energy. People will be able to pull people out of it like that. You can be around people that are able to hear and love and accept you as you are, and you just feel better about yourself because they are a space for that to happen. Like, this literally can be something that helps heal the world of their negativity and of their own darkness. But you want to be a space for other people to get better. That's what you want to be, is a space for other people. I do. I want to be a space for people to get better, and for that to ripple out into the universe and create love. And I do this routinely. Like, I want to, what do I want to create today? And then what am I going to build with that? If I create that, if that's created, what that's building and what's that sourcing, what's that causing? So I'm sourcing and causing with language. That is the language of increase. I want to make tons of money. I'm going to invest and I'm going to make a lot of money on this. Okay, when you have a lot of money, what are you building with that? It's not about the money. You know what it's about? Ultimately, for me, it's not about the money. It's about the freedom. It's about the amazing people I'll be able to connect with and work with. My reach, I will have a bigger reach to help humanity. If I have more finances, it'll be spent for my calling. It'll be spent because of my calling, right? It'll be helpful to me so I can have more freedom and flexibility to write and to do more public events because that's my calling. So I want you to try this on. You're making it up anyway. We're making up our day anyway. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be sad. I check my mood routinely. What's my mood? What am I feeling? What am I creating because of that mood? So you got to know that you're creating your futures all the time with your mood. And if there's something you haven't worked through, if you've got some trauma, if you've got some anger, if you're still hung up on a relationship issue and you're still pissed off about something, that's something you want to manage. You want to let that go. Look, I'm not saying just forgive everybody. I don't know that that's necessary. I think what you want to do is you want to not be upset anymore. How do you quit being upset? You talk about it and you finally understand it. You're personalizing something if you're upset, by the way, but you don't have to be upset. You can let that go. So that's what I do for a living. I help people quit being upset and start building a future they want to live into and start sourcing things and becoming the power in their world by claiming with language what they're building in their future. And that becomes tangible. Your thoughts are things, y'all. So this is powerful, a powerful way to communicate. It is beautiful when you're creating it. It's fun. People laugh their butts off when we start talking about what are we building with that and then what builds with that and what happens. You start seeing the future lay out before you, and then years of ripple effect of positivity can happen. And or negativity. It depends on your mood, right? So I hope this helped. I'm happily talk to people. If you want to meet up with me, you're welcome to. You can find me at healwithkimile.com. That's HEAL with KIMILE.com. And just know you're building a future to live into, so make it a great one. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.